Hey guys, it's me again. Before we start the show this time, I'm going to give a little brief aside. Turns out that a few kids from my school have found out that I make these videos. And although I really don't want them to see me dancing around like an idiot, or going with the whole Lord of the Rings, my precious thing with the food, turns out they found out about these videos. So, you guys can just ignore the following statement. Hi everyone! Okay, that's good. We're good. Wow, you know, you had a lot of girls on there. Yeah, so what? Nothing! Creeper! Shut up, you idiot! Ugh. Okay, well, let's just move on with no segue to the review. Now, we've had good movies. We've had bad remakes, but good original movies. We've had movies that were very gory, but this one is just creepy. I mean, wow. I mean, it is gory and everything, but there's a difference between gory and creepy. Gore is just like someone stabs you real deep and then blood gushes out. Creepy is like stabs you real deep, then blood gushes out, then they stitch you back up, and then they open it again, and then blood pours out, and then there's bruises around the... Ugh. Just something that creeps you out. Like, the Saw movies will be defined as creepy. Repetitive and boring after a while, but creepy nonetheless. This one is... It's Jeepers Creepers. That one, I mean, that movie just... I gotta admit, the title was creepy as well. I mean, and this one's actually a double review, because the Creepers 1 and 2, that one was both the movies that I liked, and it's odd, because this is very odd, because normally the sequel to a movie is either worse than the original or better than the original. Most of the times it's worse, but anyway, this one is like the same, and that's not a bad thing. That's not like a bad, like, that's like an insult or anything. That's a good thing, okay? They were the same. They continued the story equally. I mean, in the movie, like, part 2 takes place, like, maybe 2 weeks later or something, because the creature can only live for 23 days. That's how it works. So, the sequel obviously has to take place within 23 days. So, it's, like, less than 2 or 3 weeks. Anyway, it feels like it really happened. I mean, there's so many elements from the original taken there, in continuity's sake, it's perfect. Well, let's go down with the movie. What is the Creeper? No one really knows. We never really find out about it. I mean, is it a zombie or a ghost? I have no idea what it is. All I know is that it's creepy as hell and it can't die. No matter what you do to it. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, let's just chop off its head. Let's just cremate it. Yeah, that doesn't work so well. These people have stated, so many people have stated, that this thing can't die. And if you do something you think can kill it, like decapitation, all it needs to do is absorb someone else. It can eat people, and they take the stuff from it. That's this whole basis around this thing, that it's been around for, I think, thousands of years, and it ate people to stay alive. Like when its eyes started to go, it ate people's eyes, and bingo, new eyes. There was a wonderful scene in part 2 where a guy shoves a pipe directly through his eye, and like rips like the complete left half of his head off. What'd he do? Just ate another head. And he literally tears off his first head, and another head just comes crawling out of it. That is a creep. Jeez, I mean... And part 2, another thing about it is the first scene. If they're in a cornfield, watch it for yourself. It is like perfect tension builder. Nothing happens for like 10 minutes, but there's so much buildup. It's really awesome when something finally happens. And the wonderful thing is, they don't kill it either. That's one thing I gotta admit. I would hate it because in part 1, all they were talking about was, this thing can't die, this thing can't die. You can shoot it, won't die. You can stab it, won't die. I would hate it. Then in part 2, there was a guy that thought he could kill it. He used a harpoon gun and stabbed it. Or you think a harpoon gun now would kill it or something. I don't know why he thought that. But he harpoon gun to the chest. If that thing would have died after that, I would have been so mad. Because like, well, what the hell, man? You said it couldn't die in part 1, and then you killed it with a harpoon gun. That's like... Okay, I automatically harpoon gun's a little harder than a regular knife or bullet, but still, same process. That didn't happen. They shot it with a harpoon gun 3 times, nothing happened. 1 time was with its own knife. I think that's probably why he thought it would work, because he tied like the creature's own knife to the thing, but it really didn't work. This creature also is great adept for making people's body parts like sharp as like titanium steel. I mean, he sharpens people's bones, and they're able to be so sharp they can cut someone's finger just by touch, or shred buses tires with like just a fling of the wrist, and it's super strong. Obviously, it can rip through a bus's window. It can rip through anything. I mean, this thing's like unstoppable. That's why they say it's only allowed to feed for 23 days, and it goes into a slumber. Part 2 has probably the best ending sequence ever. It leaves so much open, where you cut 23 years in the future, when because it doesn't die at the end of Part 2. It doesn't die. Okay, it just goes to sleep again. Okay, the guy just keeps... granted, it was blown up pretty good. I mean, it lost its arms, lost its legs, and the guy kept stabbing it with a harpoon, but it just wouldn't die. It just went to sleep. And 23 years in the future, this guy has a harpoon gun aimed at the creature again, and it's just waiting for it to wake up so it can skewer it. And I don't know if there's going to be a sequel. I think there was. I haven't looked it up on the internet in a while, but I think there's going to be another sequel, in which case, hopefully it'll end the same way in Part 2, because... But they have to be watched back to back. I didn't see them back to back, and they were awesome then, so they're meant to be watched together. I know I was ranting about Part 2 a lot, so watch Part 1. It sets up everything. It's quite good. And another rare thing about sequels is that some characters from Part 1 show up in Part 2. That's such a rarity. I mean, the same actors, too. I'm not just talking about the same guy, like in a costume, like Jason from Friday the 13th. Jason showed up in every sequel from 2 onward, but it wasn't the same guy. Okay, Kane Hodder, yeah, but it wasn't the same guy most of the time. So, yeah, that's how it works. Same actors and everything, so that worked out pretty good. Well, that's my review. I know it's kind of short, but, it's on the home stretch now, so I gotta get going. Oh, yeah, I kind of screwed up on the listings. Last one, I said we were in the top 5, but then I had a little disclaimer at the bottom. I don't know. I made a list, and I'm counting on the calendar, and I'm also going by the 9th, the 7th, 8th, the ones I'm uploading on YouTube. So it's really confusing. So, screw it. I'm just going to tell you what I'm reviewing so I don't get confused. Tomorrow is going to be Friday the 13th. No, wait. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be Friday the 13th. Friday is going to be Scream. And Saturday is going to be Halloween. On Halloween. I know, big shocker. Halloween on Halloween, but I'll elaborate that on later. Also, the Halloween review might be Part 2. I'm not going to write it as, like, the way I do it with the medieval reviews is, because I usually have, like, 3 or 4 videos for one of those. I usually do it, like, medieval review part 11.1 or 11.2, depending on the parts. I'm not going to do that, because that might look stupid if I do 13 Nights of Horror / Night the 13th Part 1. I'll work out something else, but it'll probably be Part 2, just because I have to do a review, and I have to show this guy who's boss. So, yeah, tune in for that on Halloween. Yeah, sure, I'm 100% positive you're gonna kill me. Yeah, that'll never happen.
Epic foreshadowing.